Hey everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
Vander.
All right, we're back for another episode of House of the Dragon, the penultimate episode of this season called The Red Sowing. Does that mean something? You're giving me a grin, Vander.
Yeah. I told Lori I thought it was going to be called The Sowing of the Seeds because that's the part in the book where they find other people to ride the dragons. But then I went and reread that part of the book today, and even in the book it says that some call this the Red Sowing. At first I thought it was just like a play on Red Wedding, so they wanted to call it the Red Sowing in the show. But no, in the books it actually is identified as the Red Sowing.
I legitimately thought there was going to be a bloodbath of some kind based on the title because I too associated it with the Red Wedding. So what is the red in all of this? I guess
that people are going to die. Just symbolism of people dying.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe there was something more to it than that I just wasn't putting together. Or
some in the book it explains more thoroughly like how many people actually like died and tried to claim dragons. Some people literally got like chomped. So obviously, blood would be involved in that too. So.
That's fair. Yeah, a lot of people did die, but it kept the room well lit.
Sure
I will say, helped with that tricky problem Game of Thrones has with shooting in the dark. Let's just have a bunch of burning corpses.
Running around on fire. Those are my favorite scenes in any movie. People running around screaming on fire.
The guy that's obviously in a stunt suit, but you don't care. That's very clearly a controlled fire. It's like a Wilhelm scream. So what'd you think of this episode?
I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed seeing some more dragons. I enjoyed the even more descent into madness, but not quite descent into madness of Daemon. He's been more mad before in previous episodes, but I do enjoy the Daemon stuff that has been going on this season. I know some people don't, but I like it. And also, you can low-key kind of say a descent into madness for Alicent, like I'm gonna go in the woods and fuck off.
Was I the only one? You guys read the books. Was I the only one, viewers watching, that didn't read the books, that low-key thought she was going to walk into that lake and just not come back out? Because that had that, especially because before that she makes the whole, I'm not sure if I intend to return to this lake. And she then is, I was like, oh, she's low-key just gonna take the long walk. Like, okay. It was weird. One thing I kind of put together is that because this episode very heavily focused on the blacks. Last couple episodes very heavily focused on the blacks. It feels like the first half of this season very focused on the greens. The second half of this season very focused on the blacks. The first half felt like here's all the bullshit the greens are doing that's just gonna piss everybody off, and now the second half of the season is literally, no pun intended to the title, but reaping what you have sown. Like, we're gonna do all this shit to piss off Rhaenyra, and now we're gonna see Rhaenyra getting good and pissed off.
Yeah, and we thought, based on the face that she gave in the episode 10 of last season, that this season was going to be her being that angry, ruthless person that she is in the books, and she hasn't become that person yet. But maybe she will become that person.
Maybe she will, or like you and Vander are keen to point out, maybe she's just always been presented in an ill light. Who knows? We'll see. Let's get into the actual episode itself, though. You know, we kick things off at Driftmark with we cut through the treacle, waste no time. It's Rhaenyra staring down Adam, who is very quick to say, yo, no, he picked me, I'm with you, don't kneel, don't hurt me. please don't have me eaten or killed.
Yeah, I like what he says to her when she's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And what is it that he says at that time?
To learn the ways of the dragon rider.
Learn the ways of the dragon. Yeah. I was like, hell yeah, man. Adam's coming up in this world, dude. He deserved it. Like, if Alan would have got it, like, Alan's very clearly stated that he's not interested in it, that he wants to do his job. He's a simple man that wants to do his job, whereas Adam is the much more charismatic, ready to take on risks type of guy. So I thought it was perfect that he ended up getting Sea Smoke as his dragon, and I love the way he handled talking to Rhaenyra. I thought it was interesting, very cool that he withheld from her that when she was like, what is your parent?
Your parentage, yeah.
Could have just been like, oh yeah, your hand is my dad. But he withheld that, which I thought was an interesting little tidbit. I'm wondering if and when, because obviously Corlys knows. He talked to him later on in the episode. I wonder if it's eventually going to become knowledge to Rhaenyra that that's technically like her cousin.
It could be. It could be a moment of him, having that moment of like, it's not his secret to share necessarily. Like him sharing honorable. That. Yeah, he strikes me as both him and his brother were clearly raised by a good woman. Like it's very clear that like this wasn't like a situation. Well, he even says like my mother was she was a shipwright or something. So like it was very clear he comes from a good family, and was raised to be a person who's you put your weight out into the world basically. But he's got Laenor's spirit. Laenor didn't want to just sit around and be the king consort or the prince consort. He wanted to be drinking with friends and out in battle and riding his dragon, and that's kind of the life that Adam seems to be dreaming of.
And what we've seen in the show too is, so Alan is the one with the white hair, but he shaves it off. He doesn't want anyone to know. He kind of just wants to do his job and go home, where Adam is the type of character that he wants more out of his life. He doesn't want to just be left in the station that he is in. He wants to rise above his station. And if he was born with the white hair, he probably would not shave it. He would probably show it. Yeah. So the difference between him and his brother there, I really like that.
It's definitely older brother, younger brother energy. Like the older brother is more reserved and like, yes, he's, Adam's probably looked up to him their whole life, but like he's less ambitious about it. He just wants to do his job. And then the younger brother is obviously the young wolf, the one who wants the chaos, so to speak.
This also, in a way, it makes me want to go back and rewatch season 1 and how Corlys and Rhaenys behave regarding Rhaenyra's kids and that whole subplot, because how they fall into backing Rhaenyra with the whole "are her kids bastards" sort of thing. Now, when you realize that, well, now you have a better understanding as to why they didn't just go in behind her because of oaths or whatever, or it was like because this is a conversation they are so glad is not happening about them right now.
Yeah.
Because if there's anything that's a great comparison for the whole color of the hair thing, it's the fact that Corlys has 2 bastards with the same mother that have different hair color.
Are arguable, and I don't have any base to this claim, but part of me wondered if they have different moms. I just feel
I wondered maybe they had different dads. Because
they're definitely both Corlys.
You think they're definitely both Corlyses?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know this. The book.
But I just wondered if Corlys was like a little bit of a hoe before he like actually, because he obviously fell in love with Rhaenys very hardly. I wonder if he was like hoeing around and they've got 2 different moms. But I just feel like the show hair color has been such a thrilling point into telling the viewers whose kid this is.
It came up even and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but it even comes up later with Jason Rhaenyra when he's like, my whole life I've been told I was a bastard because of the color of my hair, and you said I can't be a bastard because I have a dragon. Well, now here are these silver-haired bastards that have dragons.
Yeah.
And it is interesting with the hair color and what they're doing at the show, especially because in the book, Rhaenys herself has black hair because she's a Baratheon, and we've said that before. So it's like less of a, okay, sometimes they have black hair, or sometimes they don't have silver hair. But when you're looking at these two brothers and the way that they act with each other and the way that Corlys acts with these two brothers, where you see Alan is more of the favorite, and Adam is finally getting the recognition from his father that he's never had before. So that too is lifting his station, where it's just part of it could kind of look like he's doing all of this just to be recognized by his dad.
Yeah. And his dad is recognizing him more now, whereas he did not recognize him at all before. Like, it's kind of, Corlys is obviously coming to terms with who he wants to name the heir of Driftmark, and who knows, Adam might have just catapulted his way into the favorite bastard child of Corlys.
It was the second time in as many episodes that the idea of, my blood is of salt, of being of salt and sea, and what that means for Driftmark. It also is interesting when you consider Alan's the guy who has done everything to make sure that he has tried to, like, I hate to say this, but like, keep up his end of the bargain as far as like keeping himself separated from Corlys. Like, Corlys goes out of his way to, like, you're just another person. I don't see you. I don't acknowledge you. You don't exist. And Alan has tried to kind of go along with that. And now he's first mate all of a sudden. He doesn't want to be. He's like, he's like, let's be clear. I'm doing this because you told me to, not because I want to. And, and now his brother's got a dragon, and Corlys like, maybe you'll get one. He's like, don't want one.
Right. But he still takes the order from Corlys to go to King's Landing, and
because he's
people ready to
he's
come
doing
back.
the job.
He's doing
the job.
I love that.
But also, you see a look in his eyes when he gets to people of like, what the fuck are we doing? Let's get into, they get everybody from King's Landing. Let's talk about King's Landing. We see this clearly is like right after the events of the previous episode, because Alicent's getting her arm treated from the wound from the riot that happened. The soldiers that kind of started the riot are being sent off to the wall. And Alicent is just kind of done
being
with everything.
emo about it.
Yeah.
She's in self-pity. It's like the world she helped create is finally doing what she made it do, and she's upset about it.
You wanted a world.
She's in her feelings.
Yeah, she's just gonna go have girl dinner and just, which apparently is guts. Based on what was going on at that camp, they're eating guts for dinner. You guys didn't bring any bread. None.
Hey, Alicent looks like she's a no carb kind of lady. You know what I mean?
True. No jerky, nothing. You guys haven't. You dry out the meat in the sun. It's easy. A
little tidbit about the Kingsguard she takes with her. Rickard Thorne, his ancestor ends up being Sir Alistair, the cunt that it fucks with Jon Snow all the time at the wall.
Is it really?
Yeah, probably his like great grandfather, I would imagine.
Door. Oh, that's fun. Oh,
this
that's
guy seems
funny.
Less douchey than Alistair.
A little bit. This guy seems like a good dude. Because as soon as he, remember this is right after a riot. As soon as she's like, I want to go to the Kingswood, and he's like, I will get a whole bunch of. And she's like, no. Well, he's like, we can't have you going anywhere without a bunch of people around you. It's like, so she's like, just you. He has this look on his face of just like, what is happening?
She want to fuck me?
Is this what happens? To every captain of the Kingsguard? Is this part of the initiation? Like,
dude, if he said just one rumor about Alicent and Kristen, dang, and he's like, oh, dang,
she wants me to go to the
hell yeah, man, this is awesome.
And that's why as soon as she shows up, he's like, are you ready to go back to the city yet? Are we done?
They get out there and she doesn't come on to him, and he's like, fuck.
Yeah, now he's mad. He's like, well, I kind of now I want her to. Now I want her to want me. Like, her not wanting me makes me want her more. It is.
I don't want to break my oath, but man,
But now
she doesn't want me.
making me want to break my oath. It's. We don't spend a lot of time with Allison, or we don't spend a lot of time with in King's Landing at all. I mean, this is pretty much it.
I do want to touch in that. So Allison, she floats in the water.
Yeah,
it's a 5-minute scene. It's filler.
It's gorgeous.
But another scene from King's Landing is the conversation that Larys is having with Ironrod. I think we're starting to see that the Clubfoot really isn't as resourceful as we think. Because think about it. Daemon sent assassins in to kill Jaehaerys. Larys didn't know shit about it.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Rhaenyra gets into King's Landing and out.
Has
not a peep from Larys.
Whole ass conversation.
They still, other than Allison, nobody knows that that Rhaenyra was there. And now we've got whole ships of food coming in, and Larys doesn't have a single informant to tell him about this.
And a small town's worth population of Targaryen bastards leaving in the middle of the night.
And
that's just walking around freely, spreading the news about what Rhaenyra wants. Like Larys, we're starting to realize that whatever resources he has to obtain secrets either isn't that extensive or he's a two-timing motherfucker. And
I was like, he's either negligent or he's
intentional
because
the fence if it comes to it.
He said with Sea Smoke has a new writer, he's like, let's keep that whisper in the wind. So I'm just like, what you doing? Why aren't you telling Aegon?
Because I think it was too much of a I'm your father's brother's cousin's former roommate situation. It was like he was like, how disconnected from this rumor are you? And it's like, yeah, you heard it from a guy who heard it from his brother, who heard it from his dad. It was truly
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Yeah,
Seamus told me that Dean was told by Pravati.
Is looking for you. It was the worst. So if I'm Larys, I'm looking at that guy like, get the fuck out of here. But you are right. It also calls the question. I think the problem that Larys has is his strings only really seem to extend as far as like the upper class.
True.
He doesn't seem to have his fingers in the lower. Remember, season 1, what made him so great was he went down into the prisons, got the people who were desperate.
Yeah.
And you were willing to get their tongues cut out to go burn down and to burn down Harrenhal somehow.
To kill his family.
To burn down the wettest of castles. Like, so now, but I think now he has risen up to a point where he can't reach any further lower. His reach doesn't extend that low. So he's missing out on that information that that the White Worm has passed on. It said, the little people.
Yeah.
And that's what dude from Game of Thrones. Help me.
Varys.
Varys's thing was the poor children, the orphans, you know.
And Littlefinger was kind of like I'm into the drama that's way up here with the
and that was his downfall. That was his fucking downfall. So,
that's an excellent reference, honestly.
Yeah. So I think and we've said that since the beginning of this show is that these people are too focused on themselves and not enough on the little folk, and that's going to be their undoing as
Ironrod.
And he's probably still upset he can't see them feet anymore too. He's probably still real upset about that.
He hasn't gotten to go to the OG OnlyFans in a bit.
He's fiending for feet.
Meanwhile, Kristen Cole's been getting to enjoy everything but the feet.
Another quick note, you want to know why last week's episode got a rating of 6 and this week's episode got a rating of 9? That would be because Kristen Cole wasn't seen one goddamn time this whole episode. Love it.
Not a single frame on screen. That's why it got such a high rating. Speaking of like not a lot of screen time in the Vale, we're in the Vale for 30 seconds because we're leaving the Vale, thank Christ, because everyone from the Vale sucks, it seems.
Rhaenyra's not leaving the Vale.
Rhaenyra's sticking around though because she's like, there's a dragon out there and I'm going to ride that dragon if it kills me, which it was her in this. I
love that she keeps looking behind her shoulder like, has she closed the gate yet? Okay, she closed the gate. Let me go find this dragon.
Dark. I love it.
God, everything about the Vale just sucks. Was this thing with Rhaena and the dragon? This is from the book, I'm assuming.
No.
None of this is from the book.
No. It's a storyline that was in the book. The speculation is that Rhaenyra is fulfilling the role of a character from the book who I don't believe will make it their way into the show.
Okay. Unless they introduce them next episode and they get the dragon instead of Rhaena, and then Rhaena goes insane.
I think I talked a little too liberally about it last week.
Because this does sound
I would want to wait to see what happens next with Rhaena before I don't want to spill the beans, because there's one situation. I mentioned a girl named Nettles.
You did, yeah.
Last week, and there's one situation where I can see Nettles end up being incorporated in the show. So I don't want to speculate on how that would happen.
Okay,
so we'll just see what happens.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, we got one more episode, short season this time around. But so we go from the Vale. We go to Harrenhal, where Oscar Tully has taken over for Grover.
Crazy to think that he's like Catelyn Stark's great grandfather.
No, it's crazy to think a big Sesame Street reference that I don't. That's too big a coincidence.
George R. Martin did that on purpose.
I was gonna say, there's no way that's not on purpose.
No, there's an Elmo in the book.
Yeah, like is it his father or his uncle that's Elmo?
I think it was his uncle.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
His uncle was the one who was like kind of before Grover died. I think he was kind of like running things in his stead. But
I just love that Oscar Tully, who my favorite reactors on YouTube are the guys that previewed, and they refer to Lord Oscar Tully from season 1 as Lord Pinocchio, the Craig Slayer. Because anybody who's a douchebag they call a Craig, and that guy from the Westeros Bachelor episode was a huge Craig, and then he got murdered by Pinocchio, because at that time it's the same actor, but he was so young, he looked like Pinocchio had just come to life. So seeing him, kid's got a fucking spine on him now. Holy shit.
That's not him.
Is that not the same guy?
No, this is 30 years later. That person's a grown adult by now.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, and you're thinking
you're fucking right.
You're thinking of a Blackwood anyway.
I'm thinking of Blackwood. Yeah. Shit. I thought that was the same kid that was I forgot. Okay. I thought it was only 10 years later.
It was like,
I forgot there was 2 time jumps.
I think 30 years might have been an overstatement. We might be talking. I want to say right now it's like 126. Or wait.
I don't know. I'm an idiot. We need to get a.
That's fine.
Because before
spoiler alert, we need a Mike's an idiot stamp for when I do this.
Rhaenyra was 17 when she married Laenor, right?
It was 10 years between.
I guess she's probably about mid-30s.
Yeah, it was 10 years between 5 and 6. Episodes 5 and 6 last year.
Yeah.
And then
there were like episode 1 and 2. There was like 2.
So then she's 27 when she
that's right, yeah.
births Joffrey then. And then I would say she's probably like 33, 34.
I don't know. None of this matters. So anyway,
15. It was 30 years.
Literally none of this matters.
Unless that Blackwood kid's, he's probably of age by now.
I'm cutting all of this out.
We must out you.
But anyway, either way, Lord Oscar Tully just absolutely like bending Daemon over a barrel for 15 minutes.
He reminds you of Lady Lyanna from season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones, the Mormon that ends up being the lady of Bear Island.
Yeah Ellie from Last of Us.
And the way these Rivermen kind of have been acting, do they kind of feel like the North coded a little bit with like their honor and the old gods? And I was just like,
duty, honor. That's their words.
I was getting the North, and I was getting Iron Island vibes too. I was getting a little bit of the Iron Island, like that
old ways, old way kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like we stick to our roots.
It's probably still some of that same thing. Like they're probably still harkening back to some of that shit that the Iron Islands people.
It's very much like the geography of America in a way. Like when you get closer to the South and then the Westerlands, or like where the Lannisters are, like those are the people who are like richy bitchy, like we run this stuff, and then just the Riverlands are almost kind of like the Midwest, where like it's
a little bit of everything.
Little bit of everything, but we're more honest, we're more polite.
Well, think about Dayton, like where Vander and I are at. Like, we have people who talk with like Southern accents and people who talk with neutral accents around here, and people who talk with like, you know, the Chicago style. Yeah, like it's being in the Midwest, and so it does kind of make you feel like the showrunners have done a really good job of making sure that those areas where it would be kind of culturally bleeding over a little bit, kind of like Belgium does over in Europe. It's the aesthetic and the way they're portrayed still feels like that. So I don't know.
It's
if
almost
that's
like those people in the Riverlands, the lords and ladies of it, are like the best of that region.
Yeah,
like the best, most honorable people. So
like the idea of being French Canadian or like the French Quarter Louisiana kind of thing.
Yeah. So I loved Oscar. I love that he's sticking to his guns. He's listening to his advisors, counselors, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
And I love that he sentenced dude to die, man.
It's like, yeah.
And I love that we don't actually see like the head getting cut off too. It was a nice touch because the way it was filmed felt like it was almost like dreamlike. So even though it is real, you can kind of question because of the way Daemon has been at Harrenhal
all season. Yeah.
Not only that,
if you were wondering, like, was this a dream the whole time?
There's a few times where I felt like with Matt Smith, the way he was looking around at things, almost like he was trying to figure out, Daemon was trying to figure out, is this happening right now? And I think it was mostly when Oscar Tully was giving him the business, as mostly when Daemon was kind of like, this little shit isn't actually doing this right now, is he? Like, he can't be. Yeah, it's fine. I'll play down. He's like, there's no way this isn't real. This isn't happening. Nobody talks to me like this.
Mind your tongue.
Mind your tongue, boy. And then everyone turned on him, and he was again kind of like, no, seriously. Like, he's looking around at everybody like no one. He's not used to people standing up to him.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's happening, it must be a dream, right? And
yeah. And old Daemon would have 1000% friggin' chopped off Oscar's head there. So Daemon is a changed man, and that makes it interesting when we go into him with old makeup Viserys, which Patty Considine said, I'll only do the scene if I am in the full old makeup, decrepit makeup.
Yeah.
And
get me the Emmy.
Right. So I think Daemon is realizing, I never actually wanted the crown. I'm just over here like being a little shit on the side, but I actually don't want this. And it's going to be interesting to see how he is with Rhaenyra going forward.
Because he's learning what it's like to be a king on the smallest of scales.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's like just trying to be the Lord of Harrenhal. That's all. Like, he's not even being a king right now. He's just trying to be a functional Lord of Harrenhal, and that's proving difficult.
Yeah.
And he is learning real quick. I'd have to do this for 7 other countries? No, absolutely not.
I think the Daemon arc that we're getting is starting to come to fruition. Like I've said in past reviews, they obviously had to check out his time in Harrenhal and fill in all this time where in the book we don't really know what he's doing during this time. They've got all the material that they need for the Rhaenyra time frame and her storyline and what's going on in King's Landing. So I thought it was good enough it was good filler for Daemon to have him kind of almost have this really elongated spiritual awakening, which I think we're going to see kind of come to an end in the finale, if I had to guess.
And because he's got everything he needs now. He's got his army. He's got what he needs.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm thinking that he's going to come back to his senses and help Rhaenyra get the throne instead of obviously wanting it for himself.
Exactly. And then we also, he is now in a position where, we first had him in this season, it was, I'm going to go back there and I'm going to be king and she can join me if she wants. Now he's going to be going back. Not, I honestly can't wait to see what the first interaction between them is going to be.
Oh man, I'm dying for it.
She's going to be expecting him to come back as the man that left, and he's coming back not whatsoever.
And I think even when he was saying those treasonous things, I think even then he didn't want it. What he wants is respect. He wants to be respected. He wants people to do what he says, but he doesn't want to have the burden of ruling. So if he got the respect of being a king without after actually having to be a king, that's like the best thing for David.
Well, and he's also learning that he wants power. In order to have power, he needs respect. Remember, because he says, I don't need their love, I need their swords. But he's learning, no, you need their love if you want their swords. Or they won't fight for you.
Yeah, you can even have their swords. They can pledge to you, but they're not going to fight with valor.
Which means they've run a pretty good chance of getting absolutely smoked, because going into a fight with a unmotivated army is a bad idea. And I'm judging based on your lack of eye contact and silence that's exactly what's going to happen. Anyway, that takes us into our last little chunk here, which is everything going down surrounding Dragonstone and just the red sewing. Man,
all these boats just pulling up
with full of kindling and food.
If you think you got
all at once
Targaryen in your blood, why don't you hop in this boat and come back, see if you can get it?
Yeah, I love how Rhaenyra sent them all food to fatten them up just in time to go be food for the dragon.
Well, she had to gain their love before she convinces them to die.
I'm so worried that news of that is gonna backfire so hard on her. You know what I mean?
News of like everybody getting burned alive.
Of all these people going and getting.
She covered her tracks in that she made sure to specify, like, hey, if you do this, you're willing to die. Like Hugh even said that to his wife. Which side fact, I guess his daughter died off screen.
Yeah.
So when we last saw her, she was like gray.
Gray.
And then we saw him again. He was walking the street just looking. He punched the dude for a bag of carrots, But
and that'll make anyone angry too.
Yeah, he's very, very upset.
So at this point, he's got nothing. He feels like he's got nothing.
And he's mentioned it to his wife. He's like, I need to do this. And then he mentions who his mom is, who very indicative that is Sarah Targaryen, Jaehaerys's daughter.
Daughter?
Yeah.
Because she
the sister of Balon, who is Daemon and Viserys's father. So his mom would be Daemon and Viserys's aunt.
Okay. Tells what cat that he has Targaryen blood. He doesn't say. Because the way I interpreted it was that he was Jaehaerys's and Daemon's cousin.
Yes. No, just Viserys's and Daemon's cousin, not just Jaehaerys is their grandfather.
Who did I say? I'm sorry, Viserys and Daemon's cousin.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
so he's Viserys and Daemon's cousin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What did you guys say? I heard wrong.
It's implied that he's the son of Sarah Targaryen, who is the aunt of Viserys and Daemon.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Jaehaerys, the super old king.
It's confusing. It's a lot. The names all sound the same.
To give you a backstory about Sarah Targaryen, she is like the 9th child. Jaehaerys and his wife Alyssa had so many kids.
Okay.
Or Alicent. Sarah is one of those kids. Jaehaerys is the super old king at the very beginning of the show.
He was the one that chose Viserys over.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that held the council,
yes,
which determined who would succeed him.
Okay. Because he didn't have an heir, right? He didn't have a male heir.
Yeah,
right.
Correct. His daughter is her name is Sarah, and she kind of like slept around. She was kind of like basically slutty.
Okay.
And he didn't like that, so he like banished her from the realm. Well, he really sent her to Old Town.
To be a septa.
Yeah, to be a septa, to be with the Silent Sisters.
Basically a nun.
Yeah. And she escaped and moved across the Narrow Sea, made a whorehouse, and was sleeping around a lot, had a bastard. So, yeah. We're indicating that he is one of those bastards in the show. The book is, I don't think he is in the book, but.
And the other guy, remind me again what his thing is, that he's related to who?
He also claims that he is a brother of Viserys, a bastard brother of Viserys and Daemon.
So he's the brother of Viserys and Daemon.
Yeah,
he's claiming. Well, he's clearly Targaryen to some degree, because Silverwing, by the way, dope name for a dope looking dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, that I know. Like everyone was going nuts over the bronze. What was it? The
Bronze Fury.
The Bronze Fury.
Mm-hmm.
And Bronze Fury is great. Silverwing.
Silverwing rules, man. Silverwing is the she-dragon who belonged to Alicent. So Vermithor was the old King Jaehaerys.
Yeah.
Silverwing was Jaehaerys' wife's dragon.
Okay.
They flew together, and they had decades of peace in the realm, flying on those two dragons side by side. So now we're low-born bastards.
One thing interesting about the show is in the books, it is said that this is Jace's idea to get these bastards. And in the show, he was fine with Stephen Darkland, but he's pretty mad about these bastards because he knows that he himself is a bastard. Yeah. And he goes, oh, if these bastards that actually have silver hair, if they have dragons, then they can lay a claim, because my claim was basically because I had a dragon. So you seeing this kind of tension that we've been seeing in the last few episodes between Rhaenyra and her son. And I want to see like how that tension is going to be resolved between the two of them, because in the book, this is his idea.
Yeah. Especially because like it has me wondering a couple things. Either A, he's going to just come around to it, would be one way of doing it, I guess. But the way that scene ended has me feeling like that's not the direction we're taking. It seems more like this is going to break bad in some way, because it's also because I mean, I also love that moment because that scene could have gone one of two ways, especially when he drops the mongrel line and you're like, okay, this needs to resolve itself quick. Otherwise, So, but I was really impressed with how they wrote Jace's feelings with everything. The idea of like, Mom, and we mentioned earlier, all my life, my legitimacy has been called into question just because of the color of my hair alone. And having a dragon was the only thing that kept me cool. This fucks, because any one of them could have potentially a stronger claim to the throne.
And they both got dragons who are 10 times bigger than his dragon.
Jace's dragon's a little dragon.
Yeah. So I'm glad they wrote that into Jace's character, to have him some internal conflict, a little bit of resentment towards his mom. Like I thought it was well written for the show. In the books, he's just like this honorable, like I'll do whatever my mother queen needs me to do. So I'm glad that they're making it more complex.
Yeah. But also we see things with the council are bad. One dude's just there, just throwing back his cups. And Corlys is sitting there just like, what am I supposed to do with these idiots? Like, I'm surrounded by assholes. Like, these aren't the best. They're just the best that were available.
Yeah.
These guys gotta go.
Rhaenyra's council sucks. At least the Green Council is like, they're somewhat resourceful, cunning.
They're competent.
In a way. Yeah. Everybody in Dragonstone, you just get the sense that, and it's because she's a woman. Like, you almost get the sense they don't respect her.
None of them are there, I feel like, because they want to be. They're there because they feel like they have to be.
And Celtigar too, like he should just be dead already. But so he's just the most annoying, and I wonder what they're gonna do with his character, because he, along with Stephen Darkland and the rest of like the Red Sewing, dies. So he tries to get a dragon himself because he is of Valyrian household. But he doesn't do that. He's still alive. He's still on the council.
He'd ultimately be
being a little bitch.
Because he was he was the most outspoken one about the whole dragon thing. So now that you mentioned that, it's kind of interesting they did. So they must have another plan for him. Maybe Rhaenyra makes an example of him. because she made
takes that knife in.
Well, that line she used last episode. It's my fault that you have forgotten to fear me. Was too specific.
It was it almost seemed like foreshadowing.
That was a big scoop of foreshadowing in a way. And especially after the look Rhaenyra gave the camera at the end of last season.
Yeah.
There is
she's got it in her, dude.
Because again, last episode, she's holding the sword that suits you. She wants to be on a dragon fighting, but she can't be. That woman has got a fire in her that is ready to go off. And I feel like the first one to feel that fire is going to be that asshole. Honestly, I feel like she's going to make an example of him before she goes off on everybody else.
And you can kind of see between her and Daemon. Daemon is becoming a little bit more like her, and she's becoming a little bit more like Daemon.
They're almost about to meet in the middle.
They have to do that if they want to succeed.
They're going to achieve synchronicity, and then the gates will open, and we will have 6 more weeks of winter.
I was about to say, who knows if that's how a Game of Thrones spinoff would go? Oh, you mean a perfect ending?
And then Scott Bakula walks out, and Al is there with Ziggy and his cigar, and he's like,
and Bran becomes king.
It's going to be the leap home. It's like, no, you've got to. Ziggy says you've got to help make it so Rhaenyra actually does succeed and take the throne. Otherwise, it's going to cause this whole thing that ends with a really bad 8th season.
And then Bran the Broken becomes king.
It's all, exactly. It's all just one big quantum leap spinoff is what this has all been leading up to. I really loved this episode. This is we know the war is coming, and it seems to me like season 1 was here's why we're having a war. Season 2 was setting up all the pieces on the chessboard for the war. Now we could just go burn shit to the fucking ground.
And Vander wanted to keep going, and Aemon was just like,
you had to tell Vander several times,
which clearly seems to be a problem with her. She's old, she's tired, she's cranky, and she's like, fuck all of you.
And Vander has done some shit with her previous writers that kind of just burning people down, just she's a wartime dragon, and she wants to continue being a wartime dragon.
Who's too big for the dragon pit and has to sleep outside. like a bad dog that it's like, no, you have to sleep. You're an outside dog now. You kept biting the other dragons, Vagar. You ate half of the ones we had. Anyway,
I also loved it. So at that very last scene where Vagar turns around and rides back, and Rhaenyra is standing there next to Syrax and Vermithor and Silverring behind her, and they're all just fucking meh, meh, meh. I saw this tweet that was like, they're all just yelling slurs at Vagar right now.
You punk ass bitch, you ain't coming over here.
Old ass head.
I want someone to make that edit and put it on TikTok yesterday.
Or just a fairy.
You know what it is? It's the fucking old YouTube video. Fucking what's your name?
Oh yeah,
Tony. Fuck you, Tony. Fuck you, Ezekiel.
From a viewer standpoint, that scene was incredible because it's just setting the tone for something big about to happen. But yeah, I saw that
mom's
tweet.
A bitch.
I lost my shit.
So funny. On that note, I don't know what else.
Hey, Vagar, you know your writer is a little dick.
I've seen it. It's only got one eye. One eye. He was supposed to die that night, not the other one. Anybody got anything else to add?
I'm excited for this finale.
It should be incredible.
And this red sewing, where the book, it kind of leads you to believe that it happened over a few days, and it was kind of like, oh, one by one they come up. I love how Rhaenyra is just like, nah, all y'all, let's see what happens.
Let's fucking
Another
go.
thing I loved about towards the end of the episode is I wondered this whole time if we were ever going to see Dreamfire, Helena's dragon, Queen Helena.
Mm-hmm.
And because in the book she basically goes crazy after her son gets killed, and she contributes nothing to the war. So the fact that Aemon goes up to her and she looks so magnificent in that scene too. It was the only Helena sight we got in the episode. She looked so good when Aemon was saying, I need you to get Dreamfire. We got something coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I love that because Dreamfire is likely going to be the most beautiful dragon we've seen in either show in the history of this world.
I didn't think about that till just now. We haven't seen hers, and we also haven't seen
Daeron's.
We got another name drop.
Daeron's another very beautiful dragon.
So if he doesn't show up next episode, then he must be coming next season, because we've had a lot of drops of him.
Oh yeah, he'll be cast before season 3. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Because
you guys would know.
It's going to be more fighting, and he's a very integral part of the fighting.
Gotcha.
And on the other hand, the ugliest dragon ever, Sheep Stealer, is going to be shown soon too. So.
Oh, it's not Vhagar? Vhagar's not the ugliest dragon ever?
No, Sheep Stealer.
Yeah, Sheep Stealer.
Really?
Cannibal is pretty fucked up too. I don't think we're going to see Cannibal though.
Yeah, I don't even know if we'll see Cannibal at all in the show.
Because Cannibal really does nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's just there to, like, so there's this father and son duo that try to claim Sheep Stealer and they fail, and forget what happens. Cannibal
comes off his arm.
Yeah, Cannibal comes to try to get Sheep Stealer.
Oh, Cannibal's not a dragon. I thought Cannibal
is a dragon, and Cannibal eats other dragons.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I get it.
Sheep Stealer came across his father and son and fucking killed the father, and I think it was 2 sons. Fucking murdered them all. So.
Oh my god, I'm so ready. I need it. I'm watching it at Vander's place probably next Sunday, since it's the finale. We'll see.
What do you think about bringing enough stuff over to set up shop at my house, and we do an episode review,
like do it live after
10:01 p.m. or 10:15.
Soul,
I'm down.
Okay, we're not committing to anything just yet, but it might happen. I'm not putting this on camera and saying for sure it's gonna happen, but we're gonna fucking try.
Even if like you don't know,
because honestly it's not that hard to move most of this shit to your place. This thing alone weighs like 3 pounds. So, anyway, this is all shit that can be talked about off camera. Anyway, really absolute banger of an episode. I was expecting like a big like Red Wedding-esque level moment. You usually get like a penultimate episode, but I'll take like the best setup for a war ever.
Yeah, I think we learned in season 1 that penultimate episodes aren't going to be as drama filled as the ones of Game of Thrones.
It's the finales.
It's the finales that are going to be bonkers.
Well, they've got to be, because season 1's finale, ended with a big and then Rhaenyra the camera in a one shot. So.
Although, like, no slack to the penultimate episode, because Aegon became king in the penultimate episode of season 1.
True. That was pretty huge.
We didn't talk much about Aegon this episode. We only had the one scene with him and Larys, and
he's trying to walk again, not doing so well.
Larys is putting all his eggs in the Aegon basket.
He did, but I really enjoy the scenes, because I also feel like those are some genuine moments of humanity from Larys, where he's like, I had to go through the same shit, but I was a baby and didn't have any help. I have no idea what he's basically like, you have no idea what you're in store for. From a psychological standpoint, you have no idea what you're in store for.
And what's interesting between these two men is that these are 2 horrible men that are being shown like in a light that makes you feel bad about them, because one of them's a rapist. The other one likes to
murder his
family,
likes some feet.
It's just the worst.
Yeah, and burned his family to death. So like these 2 are not good dudes, but yet you end those scenes going, man, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Well, if nothing else, now we have a little bit more understanding of why Larys is the way he is.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
For sure.
let us know down in the comments what you guys thought of this episode. Did we miss anything? We probably did. There's a lot of things. This is an hour-long episode. A lot of
Dragons.
things. Yeah, drop it down in the comments, like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys again next time here on Off the Wall.